Yeah.
And so the word truce, like I tell people, this is a military definition. And when we went and researched in the library, based upon me watching this, thing on History Channel between the war between, I think, America and Japan. I think they was doing a cease and a treaty agreement on the ship. And reflected upon that, and then me thinking about how we gonna bring peace. Because you can say peace. You can say these things, but how do you actually implement this? If you don't have a strategy, if you're not aware, if you're not studying that field, how could you do it?
Yeah.
And so as a person that's trying to bring this into existence, and I got to look at language, because I'm thinking about not just the culture, I'm thinking about the impact of people seeing gangs come together. And we caught a little bit of that because it was simultaneously with the riots. And so what they thought we was coming together because a lot of guns were stolen. They trying to set us up in a situation where it's in, because we already gang violence, we already got drugs, now the riots, and then bam, the whole criminalization of black youth as a whole, I was trying to prevent. So I had to use language that we can, like we doing now, educate people on, but the people who educate it and who understands from the outside know what we're talking about. So it's like, how do we communicate? You know what I'm saying? Doing something good with this language, and also when people look at it, they understand what it is.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We didn't understand what it is. I knew the definition of the word truce, meaning to bring opposing forces together.
Yeah.
It's not a ceasefire. It's not a peace treaty. It's just bringing us together for a dialogue. So when I say the word truce, I'm talking about at Jim Brown House. We didn't have peace because our neighborhoods was at war.
Yeah.
But we was trucing up there because we was all a part of warring factions, and we was trucing. And we was talking about ways to de-escalate that all the time, using the program, teaching us life management skills, because, it's like playing sports. If we a team, we all got to have the same manual, same playbook. It's intelligence.
Yeah.
And so creating common language is what we did with the American curriculum. We created common language. You know what I'm saying? So that the members who went through the program, we know how to communicate with each other. We know what communication is. We know what we're trying to do. We talk about goals. We can talk about things. Now we have an understanding. And in the neighborhoods, that was never, because we can never have the same common dialogue, because you blood, you crib. Cuz, get that cuz, fuck blood, fuck crabs. And we had developed a whole culture in all these different neighborhoods.
Yeah.
So that means that we can't communicate because we have different cultures, and because of the violence, that's something that's impossible. If you didn't have the right language, the right people, you couldn't do it. So the truce was just a definition of bringing the opposing forces together. In 1992, in the masjid of Al Sul, in the early Aprils, we had a truce amongst the warring factions. And it wasn't the leaders, because we wasn't leaders, because each of our neighborhoods, the Jordan Downs had over 8,000 people living in that area. We had a gang, Grape Street, that was, broken up in cliques, but we was one, but we didn't have no real, constitution that we abide by, you know what I'm saying? Shit, each man's for himself, but, when we defended ourselves, shit, we Grape Streets.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But it's each man's for himself over there, and it's like a rat race, because you living in poverty. Shit, man, I seen families go against families. Was that gang violence? No, it was based upon whatever was going on.
Yeah.
And each neighborhood is dynamically structured like that as black folks, and we all know that. You know what I'm saying? So, it was just bringing these individuals to have a conversation about, bringing a ceasefire that leads to something like a peace treaty. You know what I'm saying? And so we had conversations and discussions and all these things in these meetings, and the thing which I think made us agree to a ceasefire, you know what I'm saying, because it have to be a cause. Our cause in Watts was that all of us agreed upon that we didn't want our kids to experience what we experienced, because it was going up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Our kids was, any minute now, you can have kids living over here, and any minute now. That's how it is. Any minute now. Drive-by shooting was the rule of the day. Drive-bys. Every news. Drive-by shooting, drive-by shooting, drive-by shooting, drive-by shooting, then you got a face.
Yeah.
And if you got an enemy and you're not talking to him, you can get a drive-by. First thing you thinking about, it was them.
Yeah.
Then you go over there and do something stupid, kill some innocent people, and not knowing that probably wasn't even them. Because from a war standpoint of view, if you did something, you doing what? You waiting for a person to retaliate.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? On all sides of war. So you setting up a defense. If you know you done something, when you know a person is just out there, no defense, you know, that may be the one the person didn't do it. But in our days, you know, being drunk, being high, being disconnected, being fed this mentality for survival made it much more difficult to have those type of communications after the lines was drawn. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so we had a dialogue, and it was the truce. And the truce led to the ceasefire. You know what I'm saying?
Now, how long did the ceasefire take to get from the truce to the ceasefire?
It took about 2 to 3 weeks of conversations and dialogues and activity.
To get the ceasefire?
Yeah, because it started off with just representatives talking about the concept and the idea. Then it went to go spread the word to all your different factions and get a consensus. You know what I'm saying? Then the next week, bring back more people. So that was our strategy, you know what I'm saying, to get people to dialogue, because all of our neighborhoods, like I said, you had different cliques. You can't just talk. No neighborhood got one person. I'm the bigger, you know, but it has different factions in your neighborhood that makes up the neighborhood. And so you had to go and talk to different influencers and stuff like that to get them to agree or just to have the concept. And so that's what we did. You know what I'm saying? And
so now the treaty, how long did that take, and how did y'all decide who signed it, and like what was the requirement to who signs?
The requirement was based upon a representative from those neighborhoods.
Okay.
And like I said, it's so much of witnesses in a sense.
Okay.
You know, and like I said, since our neighborhood is not so one person speaks for all, we're not monolithic. You just have to have an influenceable person who participated and who's on the front line, who actually signed the treaties. Then we had religious representation. We had the Masjid Mujahid, who where the treaties was organized and who was a key figure in helping spread and bring a lot of the stuff we're talking about into fruition, along with myself and all the other people. And so we had to put these representatives on this document. But the treaties was a moving document, and it took 2 years for us to draft it and sign it.
Wow.
And even though we would had in a day without the riots, the goal was to, you know, do the same thing, do the peace treaty, do the ceasefire, and develop a treaties without even doing activities. The riots allowed us to do activities because the riots happened. Everybody was everywhere. But it's actually supposed to have went to the ways of we developing the activities. You know what I'm saying?
Where is the original signed document?
I have it.
You have the original?
Yes, I have the original signed document.
Wow.
And so,
and it was only one, or was there like 4
no, it was one document, and I drafted it because I was the subscriber. Not only as I was a participant and organizer, I'm transcribing what they're talking about.
Do you have a picture of all the pages of it signed?
I got the whole thing.
Is there a way you can
Yeah.
give it so we can?
Yeah,
I want to show our viewers a copy of it.
Yes, I have that. You know what I'm saying?
All right,
and like I said, we did it in the Imperial Courts, 1994, and it's signed on that date. You know what I'm saying? And it just said we opened up our territories, we returned businesses back to our community. You know what I'm saying? We had certain things on what we do and to not to do to grow us into conflict. Because when you are having conversations and dialogue in a room with a bunch of men and we talking about what led us to war.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? A lot of times the root cause was women.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? It could be a gang thing, but when you go find the root cause, it goes, these two guys are screwing the same woman.
Wow.
But it was a blood and crip situation.
Yeah.
And it led to what it was. So all incident didn't start off, no, it was more human. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
It's just that nobody didn't intervene. And it got out of hand.
Yeah.
The churches, the mosques, the civil rights leaders, the politicians, the police, nobody intervened.
Nobody.
Pretty much they made an industry off of it.
100%.
Prisons industry, multi-billion dollars. Law enforcement, multi-billion. Hospitals, multi-billions. Probation, multi-billions. This is taxpayers' money. They made an industry off of it, so now I don't want to see it in. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
Now I'm putting money, product placement money in the movies. We got CSI, we got all these crime TVs, police TV, predicated off poverty and people who don't know how to solve misunderstandings.
Now, what do you have to say about gangsters? And you hear it sometimes. Man, there wasn't no gang truce. That shit wasn't real. Man, we was still doing this. Because I don't think even gangsters really understand. The gang truce didn't stop gang banging.
No.
It put rules around it to protect the black community.
That's it. We de-escalated why people was getting their heads blew off.
Yeah.
Back in our days and growing up in gangs, you was getting murdered and killed just because you lived in the neighborhood. You didn't have to be gang affiliated.
Yeah.
And or just because you had on a certain color.
Yeah.
See, the people who wasn't there, they all have an opinion. But you're a beneficiary of what we did. But there's intelligence to what we did.
Yeah.
And there was purpose. And there was intention. See, that's the whole thing. This is nothing just made up. You know, gangs can't get together. It wasn't about gangs. We came together to save the young people.
Yeah.
And it was from a religious standpoint of view. It was in the masjid. I was a Muslim. Most of the people that was active that we called upon was either the transitional, halfway in and halfway out, but needed something great to pull them all the way out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
So we pulled a lot of people out that condition, behavioral condition that we went through in the crack era of being gangsters, robbers, pimp, players, killers. We was conditioned in behavior through television and everything that around us in poverty to behave like this. So we created a subculture inside of a major society with a constitution.
Wow.
Inside a city that has a city charter where the residents own the charter. But we out here in this little world that was created for the purpose of incentivizing big Fortune 500 corporations and companies. And we had to deal with that, and we dealt with it. We didn't, you know what I'm saying? And it was like I say, is most people who wasn't there, they're gonna say whatever they wanna say. You weren't there. You can have an opinion, but know the story though.